Welcome back to Check the Pulse. Today, as usual, I'm grateful and honored to have Mr. Michael Ariganello on the podcast. Welcome.
Kristina, fantastic to be here. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. It's funny. We had to double take, make sure get the last names proper.
Yeah.
It's funny. I had to do the same thing when we first met.
Yes,
so
yeah.
It was very important.
Exactly.
But thanks for having me. It's a beautiful space here and looking forward to this great conversation.
Me too. And guys, Michael's been dying to come on, which makes me so happy because it means like I'm providing something, you know? So I'm really hyped to get into this. Also, Mike and I work together because I do his content for his company. So it's not our first time meeting, which is also cool.
It's like a day of shooting.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like a shoot day, but on the pod.
Just a fun day. Make it fun, right?
Yeah, exactly.
No, I appreciate you having me. Yes, thank you.
Alrighty, so we're gonna dive into it. Michael has a pretty cool story with regards to like transitioning in career and like where he's at now. So I'm gonna give you the mic to kind of talk about your journey, and then we'll dive into the conversation.
Okay, so no, I appreciate it again, Kristina. Thank you. So again, my name's Michael. I'm 33 years old. Pretty much where my journey started was graduated high school, went to York for 5 years. So graduating high school, I started at York with the intention of being a teacher. Specifically high school with the subject teaching area of Italian and history as my teachable subjects. So the classification is intermediate senior, so I can teach anywhere from grade 7 to grade 12. So I did my 5 years at York, did my concurrent program. So I was doing my teaching degree at the same time as my undergrad, so I stayed for 5 years. And again, the intention was to get a job in the school board after, either Catholic or public. And ideally teach. I landed more around wanting to teach grade 7, grade 8, because I just found in my experiences that the kids at that age group are still at an age where they respect the authority, but they're still moldable because they're still a little bit younger.
Yeah.
Not to say that they're not in high school, but, if you're teaching someone that's 17, 18 years old versus, 13 or 14 is a big difference growth-wise. So, yeah, graduated, and, the next point is, like everybody else, is to try and find a job. Right. And at the time, around 2015, 2014, it was a different time to try and get a job. There was a lot of people on the supply lists, and, you have to try and get hired on as a supply teacher, do X amount of supply days, then get an LTO before you could get your permanent. So there was a lot of people that were already on the list. So getting a job, you'd have to be invested in it. Now, at the same time, I was still working, part-time jobs, full-time hours. Conveniently enough, I was also working with my dad, who was doing renovations under his own business at the time. So I'd work a couple days with him. Then I would work on my part-time job. And then I just got to a point around 2015, end of 2015, where I was like, you know what? I really like what my dad does, being able to go into a space and transform it, renovate it, whether it's a bathroom, a kitchen, a whole house. So I pretty much talked with my parents and I said, look, this is something that I want to do. And I know I went to school to be a teacher. So I pretty much put my teaching career on hold. I still have my teaching license, still a member of the College of Teachers. I just put my membership on hold. And I said, look, Dad, I want to come to work with you and learn the ins and outs and pursue my passion to renovate. Yeah. So I did that with him from 2015 right up until 2023. And then end of 2023, I decided to rebrand my own company. And my dad and I switched roles where he would work with me and then I would run the business. So I rebranded my own company to AMJ Custom Renovations, and pretty much carried the baton from him and just going into the future now to build the business more and more.
I love that. Well, I think it's cool because, first of all, obviously your journey wasn't linear. And that's something I talk about often on the podcast with other guests as well, where I feel for the younger generation that may be watching, you come out of school, you're like, hey, let's say I'm going to go be a teacher. Yeah. And then you kind of have a fear if you start to realize maybe that's not what you want to do. How do I handle this, right? And obviously you had to have a conversation with your parents. Yeah. Now, what was their feedback? Were they kind of resistant towards the idea? Like, what did they say to you at that time?
So initially, right from the get-go, was always supportive.
Right.
But for them, it was, okay, you just put in 5 years of school.
Right.
To do something completely different.
Right.
Had we have known that you wanted to do this, you could have done it right out of high school.
Yeah.
But the way I looked at it wasn't quite the right recipe when I was 18. So I graduated high school 2010, so I was 18 years old.
Right.
It wasn't the right recipe at that point.
Right.
So there was always support from my parents,
Yeah.
but it was just readjusting
Yeah.
because it's like, you just went through school.
Yeah.
But they did see the vision, they did see the drive, and it was always met with support.
For sure. And was there any concern in the sense of like, obviously, if you became a teacher, it would be more, let's say, stable income, you'd
Yeah.
have good benefits, you'd have a pension, you have all these things.
Mm.
And now you're kind of leaving that with leaving the career to go venture on your own into entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
which we'll tap into, but how that's not as easy or as linear or as steady or
Yeah.
as good as the benefits. Like, was there any concern in that sense?
So I'll be honest, at the time, because I was still living at home.
Yeah.
I had a girlfriend at the time, but you're thinking long term,
Right.
but you always have the cushion of like living at home.
Right.
So
100%.
I did think about the lack of inconsistency that would come with my job,
Yep.
but my mentality, and even now my mentality is to work more. You
Right.
can always go get a part-time job to buffer while you're getting yourself set up.
It's true.
It might involve longer days. I can imagine at least I'm trying to think now, for years,
Yeah.
I would say at least 5 to 7 years, I was working 6 days a week.
Wow.
I got my first part-time job in 2009 when I was in high school, and I
Yeah.
kept that part-time job until 2020. I stopped right before COVID.
Yeah.
So didn't matter what I was doing, school, working, construction, I always had that part-time job.
Gotcha.
It was
Okay.
always in the background.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was like to have a Saturday off until 2020 when I quit.
Wow.
And yeah, it's just, what? There's always a way.
Yeah.
As long as you chase the work, you always have that cushion. And in construction, I don't want to say the sooner you build up your knowledge, but the more efficient you are at developing your skills, that's where you can start to make more money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just focused on that. I showed up every day, put the work in, learned the skills, and just took it from there.
Is there anything you learned while in, getting your teaching degree that you now translate into how you manage your business?
So I would say the skills I picked up from teaching, where it helped me more, was twofold. One, client interface,
Yep.
because you learn how to communicate a little more formal, a little more professionally.
Right.
Because when you go in a class, and I'm sure even in your experiences in school, you're
Yeah.
not just talking, you're not just going by the seat of
Right,
your pants,
yeah.
you're not just talking.
Right.
You have to have structured lesson plans, structured units, structured assessments to make sure that the kids are learning the content.
Right.
With renovations, it's the same process.
Yeah.
From the beginning when we demo a space to when we finish it and give it back, there's a process
Got
of
it.
how you communicate it, how we go about it, etc.
Yeah.
So I found it helped on the client side, and then on the employee side, with the exception of my dad, because he has way more knowledge than me. Anybody else that we hired,
Yeah.
whether they were trades or laborers that work with me, I could apply like an educational aspect
Right.
to teaching them construction,
Right.
whether it's how to frame a wall or how to drywall or why we do what we do. I could approach it from an educational standpoint.
Yeah. And you know how to communicate it.
That's exactly it, right? Because again, you have to always try and communicate it in a way that someone else is going to understand it.
Yeah, for sure. For
Right.
sure.
So try to simplify some of the terminology, whatever it might be. So I found that's where teaching helped me transition.
Yeah. And I feel like also as a teacher, you have different students and you kind of get to learn your students and how they learn.
Exactly.
So you adapt how you teach or how you educate based off the student. If I go and ask for one-on-one advice and you go, teacher might reply a bit differently because they're studying the student. And I feel like that's the same now, where you know how to educate who's working with you, but you also know their personalities and how they learn. So you're able to kind of figure out how to get your point across and to show them something, but in a
Yes.
way that they learn best. And that's a skill that not everybody has. It could just be
Exactly.
like, well, what do you mean you don't get it? Well, here's black and white. Like people that don't have that background, it's hard. It's
Yes.
hard. Okay. So that was teaching. We're into construction now.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about AMJ. So for people that don't know, like what do you reno? Like what kind of work do you do? Give the little pitch.
No problem. So essentially, we specialize in interior renovations, anything from a bathroom to a kitchen to an entire house. We also do exterior work, decks and fences. And so pretty much what I normally tell people is anything inside of your house, whether it's a full out rental to a maintenance to a repair, is something that we're able to do. between the labor that we have in-house plus our network of trades, plumbers, electricians, HVAC technicians, that we can take on a project from start to finish. So
Right.
what I learned from my dad and what I try to mirror is when you call us, it's a one-stop shop from start to finish.
Yeah.
So you're not trying to find, your own material or your own finishing materials, your flooring, your plumbing fixtures. You're not trying to find a plumber.
Yeah.
It's you hire us, here's where to go to buy your fixtures, your tiles, your flooring. But then also you have a plumbing issue. Okay, I got my plumber. He comes and takes care of it.
Yeah.
And that's how I try to provide like a rounded design build service.
For sure. Which is amazing because there are times where you can hire people and they're like, well, I specialize in electrical or whatever, or I specialize in renovating your
Yeah.
kitchen. But now I need something in the bathroom, and they'll be like, well, my company doesn't do that. So now I have to hire 4 companies to get
Exactly.
my condo done. So that's definitely a benefit to you. Have you found that you've gotten feedback from people saying like it's simplified things for them?
I have. I find that it gives, I guess, peace of mind would be the word,
Yeah.
because now they can kind of take a step back and say, okay, you know what? Like Michael, his team, like
Yeah.
I try not to say like it's my company, like
Yeah.
our company, because
Right.
again, it's the team's company.
For sure.
That they have it taken care of.
Yeah.
If there's a problem, they come to me.
Yeah.
Or if I'm off site grabbing material, they'll communicate it to my dad. He's my eyes and ears regularly when I'm not there.
Yeah.
And then he relays it to me. So it kind of helps them relax a little bit.
For sure. And I think what's also really neat, obviously I've seen this, is you're almost always like on site, but also doing something on site.
Yeah.
Which is like your very hands-on approach, which some people may find comfort in, where it's like, okay, so he's the owner, he's not just showing up and leaving, he's actually here, he's working, he's getting dirty. And it's like, obviously I understand there's people that can't always do that. They'll show up, kind of check the site out and
Different business
leave.
model,
Yeah, for sure. But I think it is cool the way you do it because, for example, if I had to hire you, I would feel an extra sense of security knowing you were on site and you didn't just leave your employees. Not saying they're bad, of course, but it's always a safety net when the owner is there.
Makes
because you're
sense.
like, okay, you feel like things are going to get done more. It's just a subconscious thought in
Yeah,
humans.
absolutely. So that's part of how I've been trying to offer my services.
Yeah.
Is again to add that peace of mind that if I'm coming to price a job,
Yeah.
I'm able to communicate how we're going to do it because I will be there doing it as well.
Yeah.
Now, again, there's always going to be days where I got to go get material, but I have no problem like putting a tool pouch on and getting my hands dirty to get the job done, just to make sure that everything goes smoothly without any issues.
Right.
So that's how I've always tried to position myself.
Is there anything that you've learned now being in construction that before you started, you kind of saw as like a glorified thing, and then you were like, wait, this is like way harder than it seems?
So I think what I learned was that a lot of people have always had the mindset of, yeah, I'll just fall back into construction,
Right.
right? It's easy, if you don't do well in school, get into a trade kind of thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a very vital part of society, but people don't understand that if you want to get into the trade, you're going to start off doing the shittiest and the hardest work. If you can't make it through that grit, it's not for you. If you can't deal with the inconsistencies, because construction in general is subject to many different factors, money being one, job doesn't start on time or there's a delay. People don't get paid. There's a lot of factors that don't give you like that linear type of employment. Like let's say you work at a bank, it's 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Construction's not like that.
Right.
If you can't weather that storm, it's not for you. If you treat it like a job, it may not be for you. It's hard work, but you have to be able to get through that to come out onto the other side. Then you start to do the more skilled work, the stuff that's, I don't want to say less labor, but it's still hard on your body, but it's more skilled work that you're doing.
Right.
Right.
That, first of all, that's spot on, because even just growing up, you hear that like, oh, he probably got into construction because he's not that smart, or, oh, he fell back. And it's like, it's shitty because I feel like it does have such a negative connotation. But like you said, it's so vital for society. Every building you step in is built
Exactly.
by a construction worker. So
Absolutely,
it's
yeah.
like people shit on them to a certain point, but it's like you kind of can't. It's like if you wanted to shit on like police officers. well,
Definitely
they weren't
not.
good at math or anything like that, so they became a police officer. It's
Yeah.
like, no, but you need police to like, protect people. So I think that's a very, very valid point. Like my
Absolutely.
dad's in construction too, so I grew up seeing it, and like he's literally one of the smartest people I know. And I sometimes like growing up, because would fall into this negative connotation, I would say to him like, why didn't you do more? Like you could probably be an engineer, But it's like also understanding that people's life paths take them down different roads, and sometimes you end up here, but I don't think it should have the negative connotation it
Yeah.
does. Have you ever had someone kind of disrespect you in a way where like you tell them you're in construction, you can kind of see it in their demeanor, like, oh, that kind of scoffs it off?
Not disrespected.
Yeah.
Because I think like at least within my life, like friends, family, like they do hold the value of construction in
Right.
general. But I think where I was receiving more, not resistance, but when I wanted to change careers, people
Right.
are like, Mike, like, are you nuts?
Yeah.
Like, you're giving up like pensions, summers off, benefits. And I'm like, well, pardon me for saying it, but like, I don't want to be fucking miserable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
That ass.
Like again, yes, you do get that, but it also has like, there's something that comes with that as well.
Yeah.
It's not as easy as, summers off, pension.
There's a
benefits.
reason you get summers
There,
off.
there is, absolutely, right?
Yeah.
So I find that I got more of that resistance because it's like, well, how can you, like, why would you walk away from that? And I'm like, you know what? Don't worry, because after my journey, I'm going to make more than a teacher.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
For sure.
And that was the mindset that I pursued, and I'm like, I'll show you.
Yeah. And it's also like you kind of hit a point where you realize a lot of times people kind of throw resistance, or I just say like they throw hate in a way. It's like also because they wouldn't have the balls to do what you did, right?
Well
Because it's
said,
like
well said.
they're very much like, well, I'm too scared to leave my career. I'm too scared. I'm here. Meanwhile, you had the guts to do it, and now you reap the rewards of it. And listen, now we're gonna dive into entrepreneurship, because I feel like
Love it.
entrepreneurship is glorified, and it's great, but like everything, there's pros and cons.
Exactly.
And to you, like if I came to you and said, I want to get into entrepreneurship, I'm not an entrepreneur now, what would you say to me? What's your advice? Like things to look out for, but things that are as true as people make them seem.
So what I would say, like the starting point or the foundation is, what are you passionate about?
Yeah.
You have to love what you do, because at the end of the day, if you want to get into entrepreneurship, it has to be something that you're very passionate about, because it's a rocky road that you're going to travel. So start with your passion. What do you love doing? Because then at the end of the day, like a lot of people say, when you do what you love, you never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
So I would say start with that. And then the second thing that I would say, in which I know you'll understand this 100% too, is seek mentorship.
Yeah.
And talk to people who have done it.
Yeah.
So again, I pulled all my skill from working with my dad.
Right.
He's done it 35 years. I learned my skill from him. And then on the flip side, talk to people, whether it's a business coach, whether it's a mentor, to learn how to like structure your business.
Yeah.
And then execute.
Yeah. No, mentorship is massive. And I think that ties into not only entrepreneurship, but with anything in life that you want to pick up, like whether it's a sport or another hobby, or even me with podcasting. Like I have people that I look up to as mentors. It's so important, because as you grow, having that person you can kind of talk to or reach out to, they could save you going down the wrong path by like 30 different steps, because they've done it.
Exactly.
So with you, it's cool because it's your dad. So it's like you have the simplicity of being able to just call him or be on site and be like, Pa, I want to do this. And he can tell you, hey, Mike, I did that, go here. But let's say you didn't have a mentor. I didn't have a mentor. Some people don't. Then it's triple the struggle, because you're like, how do I figure this out? How do I get through this? What's the next step? Someone said this to me once on this podcast, and it's true. We're not reinventing the wheel. We're just doing it over. So someone out there's already done what you're doing.
Exactly.
You just got to find and source that person. And if you're thinking right now in your head, I don't have anyone in my life that's done what I'm doing, you could easily go online. This is the pro of social media and the pro of the internet. And you can source someone who's done what you're doing. And I'm sure there's many books or YouTube videos or things to educate yourself to help you get to the next level. We're all capable of getting to the next level.
Absolutely.
Right?
There's a lot of resources out there. You're correct.
Yeah,
yes.
100%. And I just feel like sometimes it's people's lack of wanting to that holds them back from getting things done, right? And I feel like even in construction, like on a job site, I feel like, yeah, maybe there is times where you have to get down on your knees and do things you may not want to do, but it's your company and that's part of entrepreneurship. You got to get it done. You got to bring the train forward, you know?
Absolutely. So, I mean, what I've taken, and I've always heard this from my dad too, he's always told me that I'm not going to get you to do something I'm not prepared to do myself.
I like that.
So, again, like, and I've been on sites. I mean, like I said, you do my Instagram now. So you see, like, yeah, I've been doing cement work, breaking concrete.
Yeah.
The other day I was doing demo. Like, that's the way it is sometimes, right? And if it's part of, again, keeping you sharp skill wise, but if it also means like, hey, I gotta do a demo job to like build a relationship with someone, then you know what? Just do it.
Right.
Don't worry about it. It'll pay off. Right?
100%.
Yeah.
And that's actually a good transition into my next question. So we speak a lot about, you know, obviously being an entrepreneur, you have to make certain decisions, tough decisions. When it comes to a job you may have performed, you get client feedback and they might have kind of some resistance or pinpoint something out that they want you to change. Now, we're in alignment where we say, like, sometimes you got to give a bone just because, you know, you want to keep that relationship. You don't want to burn a bridge. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and the mindset behind that?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think, especially pertaining to like the rentals that we take on, when I take on a job from start to finish, I'm taking responsibility for the finished product. Right. So in that respect, I have to take accountability for any issues that might come up. And if there's any problems that arise, like to remedy them.
Right.
Now, if it's something that I made a mistake on or something that I overlooked, then at the end of the day, if my client brings it to my attention, again, there's a conversation that has to be had. If it's a mistake that I made, then you know what? You have to take responsibility for it and you have to correct it. Because at the end of the day, a client's satisfaction is going to take you further than them not, like, you leaving the job and they're not happy with your service. It's going to take you a lot further. So that's what I've always tried to do. Now, again, if it's something that's really out of my control that I couldn't anticipate or it has nothing to do with where I'm working, then okay, I would draw the line. Let's have a conversation about remedying it, you know, if it's additional work or whatever it is. But if it's within my scope, I have to take responsibility for the outcome.
100%. And I feel like that's just, like you said, take responsibility, take ownership.
And
there's, I don't know. I just feel like that happens so much in entrepreneurship that like you do the best you can and then someone will bring something to your attention and it's like, it's your job as the owner. It's one of the pressures that like, you got to come up with a solution. You have to have those hard conversations. You have to put the fires out. That's on you. That's the stuff that they say, like some people want to get into entrepreneurship because it seems easy, but not everyone's also built to be an entrepreneur because of that. Like there's a lot of pressure and stress. And like, once you get employees, you have to pay your employees. That may mean you may not get a check one day or like, you know, it's so off balance. It's not consistent, but it all ties back into what you were saying, whereas if you love what you do, you don't really work a day in your life.
Exactly.
Like I had someone ask me the other day, I was really stressed and I got asked like, but like, do you really love what you do because you're always stressed? And I said, yes, because I'd rather take this stress than working 9 to 5 for somebody else. Be stressed about that. At least this, I still love what I do, but stress comes with anything in life, whether you're an athlete or you work for yourself, or even if you work a 9 to 5, like no matter what you do, there's always a layer of stress because you need to perform. If someone's paying you, you have to perform. Whether it's a client, a team on scholarship, a corporate structure, like you got to live up to the expectations, especially if you want to make more money. So that leads into my next question, which is obviously there's room to make great amount of cash flow in entrepreneurship. What advice would you give someone when it comes to that? If they want to tap into entrepreneurship and they think like, I'm being an entrepreneur, I'm going to make 100K like right away, let's say.
So I would say getting into entrepreneurship right on day one, you have to be prepared not to make anything or not that much money at the get-go. So again, if you're starting a business and you have to, let's say, have a part-time job on the side, that's what you have to do. There's no, like, even though like Drake says 0 to 100, it's not 0 to 100. I mean, again, it could be, you know, the luck of the draw. Somebody comes up with this brilliant business idea and takes off within the first year. But even if that's the case, you need a business model that's sustainable. that is not going to just in the first year, you go from zero to $200,000 in revenue. You want to do 200,000 in revenue for the next 20 years,
Yep.
the next 30 years.
Yep.
So it's about sustainability, right? So you have to be prepared at the beginning
Yep.
to not make anything or make minimal.
Yep.
And if you can find a way to deal with that, then you'll push through.
Yep.
And when you come out on the other side, it's more rewarding.
Yep. I agree. I 100% I agree with that. And then what would you say, so about construction specifically, what would you say are some like hard truths about the industry?
So truth number one, it's not an easy industry to get into.
Yeah.
It's not a fallback industry. You do have to have like a good head on your shoulders because again, as you mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
everything that you walk into is built.
Yeah.
But it's built in a way that it stands, it doesn't fall.
Right.
So it's not for the faint of heart. It's not something that you just fall into. It's not something that you can coast through. And especially now, just given the way society is now, like we need like skilled workers. We need people in construction to continue to develop our cities, maintain the older parts. So it's not for the faint of heart.
Yeah.
It's not easy at all. Number two is be prepared to work through the hard times because on the other side of it, you will be prosperous.
Yeah.
You will be. Like I spent a lot of time, especially when I first started working with my dad. Now, again, it's just the way it is. I didn't have a lot of skill, but look, you're breaking concrete, you're busting tiles, you're lifting heavy, carry this up and down stairs. Like you are starting off doing the harder work.
Yeah.
But put the work in, put the elbow grease in, because now on the other side, I'm running my own business now.
Yeah, 100%.
Right.
But that's you also believed in your vision and believed in yourself and why you were doing what you're doing. If you didn't and just saw it as like, oh, I'm going to work with my dad, like then you're not going to be able to see down the line,
Exactly.
right? So speaking of seeing down the line, where do you see AMJ in like 5 to 10 years? Like what's your goal?
So what my ideal business model would be is I want to get into the custom home building market.
Yep.
Also keep the renovation side going, do the custom build side, and then also get into a portion of like commercial renovations.
Nice. I like that.
So that would be on the construction side, and then very long term, I would want to get into property maintenance, and then have a separate division that's home inspections.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah, so it's one step at a time, but I just feel that each of those is very vital to like would be my contribution and our company's contribution to society to maintain it.
Yeah.
Right, making sure that these buildings still stand, right?
Yeah,
and
for
and
sure.
so on. So
For sure. And then do you ever see yourself, like, is there anything you're passionate about outside of construction that, let's say, once you grow at a certain scale, you can kind of start to, let's say, take up a hobby or something else to pursue? Do you have anything like that?
So funny enough, and ironically, how we're full circle would be actually like teaching construction.
Oh, okay,
So
sick.
I did about 6 months. I taught at a private college.
Yeah.
Because there's a few out there that offer home renovation programs, trade programs. And I did it for about 6 months at one particular college. It's a home renovation course. It's a 3-month course. Half of it is in class, half of it is hands-on.
Yeah.
So I had a great experience with that. You're dealing mainly with adults or people that are fresh out of high school that want to gain that extra knowledge before they either open up their own business or they go work for someone else.
Yeah.
So I actually thought that was very enjoyable.
Yeah.
And on the flip side, because it's in a college level, it's not to say that I don't have to be on the students, but at the end of the day, they're paying to be here. So it's almost like being in university. Like, you can provide them with support. Hey, try and finish your work. But if they choose not to, they're paying for it. It doesn't matter 100%, right?
Yeah.
But I found that to be very fulfilling, and it's a great opportunity to like mold people that want to get into it.
For sure. Is there anything you learned while teaching it? I know, like, just to my knowledge, I know like George Brown has like a construction degree or course you could take, construction management, I think. You never obviously went to school for construction. So now that you've taught it, is there anything you would suggest to people maybe coming out of high school that are like, well, why do I have to go learn it? I'll just go on job and learn. Like, do you suggest they go to learn it? And if so, why?
So I would say if you're going to pursue some type of private education for construction, when you're done the program, it should, and you go to apply a job, it should shorten your, let's say, for example, it's an apprenticeship.
Right.
So you can do a pre-apprenticeship, for plumbing or for electrical, let's say
Right.
it's a 3-4 month course. The way I look at it is if someone's going to invest their time and money to do that, when they start their apprenticeship, it should bump them a year. So instead of
Okay.
starting year 1,
Yeah.
it bumps them to year 2.
Yeah.
Based on my experiences and who I've talked to, that's not the case.
Right.
So in that respect, if you want to get in and you want to ease into construction in a more controlled environment, then the private schools is a way to go,
Right.
just to kind of, start to learn a little bit. But if you're going with the intent of it shortening how long it's going to take, it's not going to.
Wow. That's
Right?
very interesting.
It doesn't shorten it at all, actually. So if an apprenticeship is 5 years,
Yeah.
and you do, because there's a variety of programs, right? Some
Right.
that are 3 months, some that are a year, some that are 2 years.
Right.
So if you take, let's say, a year to do a pre-apprenticeship program in a college,
Yeah.
you still have to do 5 years of your apprenticeship,
That's crazy.
right? It's not like you do that year and then you do 4.
So if me and you both, let's say, are going to have to do our apprenticeship, I go to school, you don't, and you start right away. We're still going to do the same amount. I'm actually going to be a year after you, let's say,
Exactly.
because I went to go take education.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
So, and again, because I always try to network with a lot of people in my industry.
Right, yeah.
So again, I talk to a lot of different people, and
Yeah.
you start to see that what everybody's saying, like there's a consistency that develops in what they're saying.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
pertaining to like these school programs, and look, I'm not knocking, like education is always going to be a good thing.
For sure.
But there's a difference between like pursuing education for yourself and
Yeah.
it being a sales tactic
Right.
to get people in, to bring the money in. There's two very different things. So
True.
I'd say if you're going to pursue education,
Yeah.
it's so that it can put you, let's say, one step above,
Gotcha.
because you have that foundation already, right?
100%. And you can also like you said, it's a tactic. It's a sales tactic in a way where, like, for example, if someone runs a business, they have an MBA. It looks nicer
Yeah.
than someone that doesn't have an MBA.
Exactly.
So it's like, oh, this person's running this company. Oh, they got their master's in business. Okay, yeah, this person's running this company. They don't. Oh, they probably know more. They may or they may not. But them getting that education
Yep.
has now given them that inch
Yep.
in a sales tactic to be like, hey, I did this. So that's a very interesting point. I didn't think of
So
that.
it's just, and again, because I always believe, like, I try my best to advocate for the industry.
Right.
And, I want to advocate for people coming in and
Yeah.
staying in.
Right.
But I find that what's happening now is, when let's say you're in high school or whatever it is,
Yeah.
they see construction, they paint a certain picture about it.
Yeah.
So people are like, yeah, that's awesome. I'm going to get fired up. We're going to go, I'm going to make lots of money and stuff. But then when they get in on day one, they're like, shit, this is not what it was
Yeah.
hyped up to be. Peace out,
Yeah.
which is not good, right?
No, but I think that ties into people not talking about the reality.
Exactly.
So what is it? Because you are an advocate for the industry.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you want to bring awareness to in the industry that some people may not be aware of right now?
So I would say, just based on my experiences, my opinion, there is high value in skilled trades, and the way like society's going, the value of construction and skilled trades needs to maintain the same growth that the rest of society is growing in terms of living wages, how much it costs to do things. There are far too many people in my industry that wake up one day and say, I'm going to be a contractor. They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
And they go, and all it takes is one person to say, wow, everybody else is asking $10,000 to do this bathroom. This guy's going to do it for $6,000.
Yeah.
Well, like at the end of the day, you're getting a certain product that's not going to last long. And again, it's two-sided, right?
Yeah.
So there has to be appreciation for the skill in general, for the ability for somebody to come in, whether it's a plumber, an electrician, an HVAC guy, a contractor in general, that they have skill and insight to take something apart and put it back together, that it lasts not 5 years, but it lasts 25, 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
And the only reason that you're changing it is because now I don't like that paint color. I don't like this feature on the wall. That's why you're changing it, not
Yeah.
because my shower's leaking after 2 years or whatever it is. Like, you don't want that.
For
right?
sure. And is there anything that, because I do feel like, especially in construction, like when people have to get rentals done, everyone's trying to look for a deal
Yeah.
all the time, which
Yeah.
it's fine. I get it. Like the economy's tough right now and no one wants to spend a lot of money. But there is the reality, as you just said, that you're paying for experience
Yep.
on top of getting the job done.
Yep.
So if there's people out there that want to get a reno and they're looking to hire a contractor, to do the reno. Like, what is advice you would say to them so that they don't get so blinded by, let's say, a price tag on a renovation?
So I would say generally the rule of thumb for us is if you're a homeowner, you want to get renovations done, normally you want to get 3 quotes. 3 quotes will give you a basis of how much like your price range can be. So if you're doing a bathroom, for example, if you get 3 quotes and one is 10,000, one's 12, one's 15.
Right.
By doing that, you're able to assess what you're not getting at 10,000, but what you're getting at 15,000. So it allows you to pinpoint what you're getting versus what you're not getting.
Right.
Plus, at this point, when you do 3 quotes, normally it's three companies that are, I would say, equivalent to an extent in terms of overhead, size of the company, etc.
Yeah.
So obviously, larger companies are going to have larger price points. Smaller companies are going to have smaller because of overhead.
Yeah.
That would be the one. The second thing that I would say is do your research, educate. Everybody's online today, one way or another. So look them up, whether it's Google reviews, websites. Just try and see what people online are saying about them. And then what I always encourage clients to do is get character references. I always provide the opportunity for a potential client to call a client we just finished work for and one we're currently doing work for. Wow. So that way they have a gauge of somebody that we just finished working with, and then also how is it working with them like mid-rental.
Yeah.
Right? Because then it gives you like a point from, dealing with one person at how they are from the beginning to the middle to the end.
Right.
Because especially if you don't know the person, they're not going to lie.
Yeah.
And again, if they have an issue with what you did, they're going to be vocal about it.
100%.
Right?
100%.
So you're getting an unbiased opinion.
Yeah.
So I would say that foundation helps you to make the most informed decision of who to hire.
I like that. And that last point is actually very crucial because a lot of people will not do that because they're scared of what their past client might say to like a new client. But if you're secure in the job you did and you did a good job, then that should be no problem. And that shows the person that you're trying to like win the job from that, hey, I'm so confident. Like, yeah, you can go call my past client and you can call the job I'm at now. And I think if I was on the other end of that and someone said that to me, I don't even think I'd actually call, just because I'm like, for someone to say that just already proves that they're confident in what they do, because majority of the population won't do that. That's a very different tactic.
And again, because my position in it is integrity.
Right.
Whether it's my business, if I talk to other people, in my network, it's the same thing. We try to maintain that integrity.
Right.
Now, again, like the rentals that we do, I'm sure if, the way we operate, let's say with a bathroom rental, a lot of what we do is in-house with the exception of plumbing, electrical. If I have to tile a shower, we'll tile it, right? Now, having said that, I know how to tile. I know how to do baseboards, put doors in. But having said that, I'm not a tiler and I'm not a trim carpenter.
Right.
So if those independent trades come in, chances are they are going to do a better job than me.
Right.
But having said that, I position myself where the product that we deliver, it satisfies our clients.
Right.
Right. So again, there's room, right? If let's say a normal bathroom renovation costs 15,000,
right.
If you're getting someone that's charging you 25, sure, the product's going to be completely different. But at the same time, you have to be prepared to pay that.
100%.
So in this market, we can go either way. We can go the high end, the luxury end, or we can keep it, if someone's trying to work within a budget, and again, without compromising on quality, we can try our best to accommodate a budget, pending that, again, I don't cut from quality.
Right.
If I have to start cutting from labor, then I'm not the contractor for you.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And I think that is a testament to who you are too, though, because some people will be like, just to win the job, will be like, okay, like I'll cut in my labor, or I'll cut here and I'll cut there. And I think that's another good talking point in your industry, but in entrepreneurship in general. It's like, don't undervalue yourself.
Exactly.
And like, I'm saying this and I undervalue myself all the time, but
I don't
like,
think so.
No, thank you. But it's just like, it is such a pivotal point. And like, even speaking of mentors, like there's people I talk to that are like just super, super, super successful. And like, they all say the same thing, where it's like, they don't undervalue themselves. They don't cut down what they know they're worth just to win a job, because then it's like, is the job even worth it at that point? It's clearly that person is not appreciating what you bring to the table, right?
That's what it is. So the way I've always positioned it, and even when I was working with my dad, if someone doesn't want to hire us from price, they're not the client for us. You want to work for somebody that appreciates the service provided.
Yeah.
And again, this applies well outside of my industry, like for construction.
Yeah,
This applies to mechanics, barbers. If I go get my hair cut, there's a big difference between the guy that charges $20 and the guy that charges $50.
Yeah.
There's a big difference, right?
For sure.
And again, some people want the $20 haircut, others want the $50, right? And that applies to anything, a store you go to, whatever it might be, right? So the way I've done is I used to get really hung up, especially when I worked under my dad. Like, man, that client didn't give us the job.
Yeah.
You know, damn, like what could we have done better, right?
Yeah.
Now my thing is, you know what? Hurry up, move on to the next one.
Yeah.
Like, take that energy that you feel about not getting that job, apply it to getting the next one.
Yeah,
And that's
true.
it. Just keep going, right?
Yeah, instead of just sitting in your shit.
Yeah.
And the thing too is like even with the barber haircut, it's a good analogy because then you'll have people that go in that want the $20 haircut but want to receive what the $50 giving them.
Absolutely.
So they'll be like, they'll pay $20 and be like, oh, but he's getting his beard lined up or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you want that package, pay for that package.
Absolutely.
And that's anything in life. Like if girls want to get their nails done, there's packages. Like
Yeah.
that's why people package. That's a thing
Yeah.
because it's like you do it too and you do a good job of it. Is like you have tiers and then you'll throw things in at different tiers to
Absolutely.
make the value there.
So, and that's you hit on the word that like I try to emphasize on is value. And again, I've learned this through my business coaching. You're not discounting yourself, but you want to try and make your potential client feel like they're getting value.
Right.
And that goes with anything. If you go to a store and spend $500, but you know they'll have like a signage that says if you spend $6, we'll give you this.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, another $100.
Yeah.
People just have to see that they're getting some kind of value for the price that you're quoting.
Yeah.
Right. So again, if you're going at the high end, you know, you got to say like, you have to show them what they're getting.
Yeah.
But you know what? If I'm landing a job that's $100,000 and a homeowner's like, hey, can you put some tile here or can I add a couple cabinets here? No problem.
100%.
No problem because it's a spit in the bucket
Yeah.
compared to them seeing that I'm going above and it's with the client I'm dealing with now.
Yeah.
She asked for a little bit more that was outside the scope. For
Yeah.
me, it was a couple cabinets in a laundry room. I said, you know what? Don't worry about it. There's room in the budget. As soon as I finished saying that, 2 minutes later, she's like, hey, these are my friends. They want their bathroom renovated.
Yeah. See?
So what, to save $500?
Yeah.
Come on.
It's
You have
true.
you have to do the value. That's what it is. So I know like now, I don't want to say they're funny times, but look, people are being more cognizant of how they're spending their money.
Right.
But at the same time, if they can get a little bit of value, there are still a lot of people out there that value the service.
Yep.
And I know, like, you know, we work together regularly. You see it in your industry too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
There's a big difference from, you know, what you might offer as a service to what someone else might that's significantly cheaper.
Yeah.
Right? Like your
100%.
readiness, if I message you, hey, we got to go over social media, like it's that attentiveness,
Yeah,
right?
for sure, for
Which
sure.
would encourage people to continue to use the services or refer, right?
And I think even too, it's like in that value, you just kind of nailed it there. It's like also showing you care. Because when you have a job, a one-off job, let's say, or a client, and you're just kind of keeping them for the check, they can feel it. You're not really in it. You're just like, oh, okay, like I need the pay, so whatever. But when you actually care, people can feel that. Like, hey, yeah, you know, can you come down and film this? Yeah, sure, no problem. Like, let's get it done. Like, it's like we were saying before, and like you just said, it's like throwing that bone that keeps people happy that will then lead to more referrals, so on and so forth. Obviously, everyone can judge someone else's energy. If you see someone actually wants to take advantage of your kindness, you stop it. But majority of the time, especially in something like a house reno, people are already investing so much. They're trusting you to literally do a really big job. So throwing in a few extra things, it's like, wow, he's not penny pinching. Like he does care. He cares to be here. He cares about his trade. And stuff like that throws respect onto the business.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
And on the flip side, I mean, you're right now, in terms of doing that, like, you know, we have to obviously gauge
For sure.
the client because there are some people that don't appreciate it or have a different appreciation for it. So again, you always have to gauge, you have to try your best to use your intuition to say like, okay, you know what, if I do this for a client, let's say I give them a couple extra cabinets, are they just doing it to try to get something for free or are they actually appreciating it?
Yeah.
So you have to kind of gauge it. But I find lately, thankfully, a lot of like all my clients that we've been dealing with the last like year or so,
Yeah.
they've been very appreciative at like the little things, the clear communication, the transparency.
Yeah.
And I find that that's important because there's a lot of people that will come in, take the money, do the job, and they make a mess.
Yeah.
And like not that I'm dealing with it now, but like my client currently, she had the same instance
Yeah.
with her getting her bathrooms done, and the guys that she called were within their community.
Yeah.
And he took them for a ride. You'd think they were at Wonderland with all the rides that they went on. And it's
That's
just,
crazy.
it's unfortunate because when I first met her, her wall was like 20 feet high.
Yeah.
But slowly, the bricks come down, and now the wall is down. You can tell she's a lot more comfortable. So it's important, right?
For sure. And I think also, though, that's a good point. You coming in after you seeing clearly what a client went through in a hardship with another company or another contractor, you also have to have the patience to be able to understand what they just went through and show, hey, this is the value I bring. I'm going to work with you instead of just, well, her walls are up and she thinks I'm going to do what they're going to do and then buzz off.
Yeah.
So it's like the wanting and the willingness to also understand the client's needs and wants, understanding their past history, and then making sure it doesn't happen again. Because I feel like that's a common story in your industry where like they hired someone for the cheaper rate. Then that person messed it up. So they have to end up calling someone more experienced anyways to come fix it. But now at that point, they hate all contractors. It's like, well, this guy messed it up. So, well, you're probably going to mess it up too. So I think it's like now your job to be like, no, don't worry. Like, I understand this is what he did wrong, but this is how we're going to fix it.
Exactly. And you know what? Yes. I mean, in those situations, like you're dealing with people that are very emotional.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, there's two sides to every story.
100%.
If a contractor in quotes comes in and he makes a mess and he does a bad job and whatever it is, that's not good.
Yeah.
But at the flip side, if you're not paying enough, you have to take accountability for that.
Yeah.
So what I find is, and we've dealt with, contractor takeover jobs or even tried to connect with clients that have just been taken by a contractor.
Yeah.
And the one thing I find that they're missing is the lack of accountability that I didn't do my due diligence. I didn't pay enough money.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, a lot of clients like that, we can't necessarily rescue because they just want to get it corrected for the cheapest amount possible.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that. Does not work like that. If we have to go back to the beginning, that's how we can guarantee and warranty our product. I can't take it apart halfway and then rebuild it. I have to go all the way back.
Yeah, for sure.
And again, sometimes they're just not our clients, right?
Yeah. And I think also too, as you were saying that, something just stuck out in my head at one of the shoots we were at, but like the previous contractor had like built the cabinet or something so that the door couldn't open. And it's like little things like that where someone that's experienced will already do the calculation and be like, hey, if you extend this to this point, this door can't open and this door has to open.
Yeah.
So in that price you're paying, it is a lot of like those little things that come with it.
Absolutely.
Right?
It's the little details.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so I like asking this question to everybody.
Okay.
But what's one piece of advice you'd give your 16-year-old self?
Oh, you know what's funny? I was thinking about this while I was driving here. I had it in my head. So I would say like what I would pass down is make sure that you're taking care of yourself mentally and physically. Be good to people around you and do what you love.
I like that. That was good. That was bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, I was thinking about it while I was driving. I'm like, man, I remember because I've heard a couple of your other pods.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, she's going to ask me this question.
That's my
Shit,
question.
What would I say? So I had to think about it.
It's crazy because
yeah.
someone actually reversed that on me once. One of my guests reversed it on me. And I obviously was not expecting it. So like, I literally like, he reversed it and I was like, I don't know. Like, but obviously now I think about it, but it's interesting because to hear people's perspectives.
Yeah.
And I used to say what piece of advice you give to your younger self.
Yes.
And then I put an age on it because if I put an age on it, now in your head, you can frame where you were at that age.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, and it's cool to hear how everyone is always at a different point at 16. So to hear what they tell themselves is cool, right? It's knowledgeable.
So then it's funny because now, speaking of flipping, when I was driving, I was thinking about a question to ask you.
Tell me.
So we're both in the entrepreneur space. You run a successful business and you do very well, like in terms of the service you offer. If someone made you an offer you could not refuse, would you ever get back to working in that corporate world?
No.
Wow, that was so fast.
No. No.
If it was an offer you could not refuse.
If it's like, no. Just because here's the thing, and this is my opinion on this, and you don't have to agree with me.
You answered so fast.
Yeah, because here's the okay. I also think it's kind of situational. Let's say like you're in a bad situation, right? Let's say you're either in a lot of debt or you have someone with an illness that needs a surgery, or it's like really bad and someone makes you this offer.
Circumstantial.
100%, without a doubt. I'd take it because it's like I could help a family member. I could clear my stress or whatever. But on just like tomorrow, if someone's like, I'll give you 10 mil, but you got to go work back. I used to work at a bank. Got to work back at the bank. I wouldn't. And this is why. In my personality, I don't like to be controlled. So
Got it.
when you work for somebody in a corporate structure, you are controlled. They can tell you how many sick days you get. They can tell you how many vacation days you get. They can tell you what time you have to go into work, what time you have to leave work, what you have to do when you're at work. Like all those things just kind of irk me the wrong way, in the sense of like why I even left corporate structure back when I did was because of COVID, because I didn't agree with the rules that they were instilling. So, but that's another alignment of control where it's like, well, they wanted me to do things I didn't agree with. So I was like, okay, I'm out.
All right.
I didn't care. At that time I left, I knew I wasn't going to get a pay. Like I was lucky I was living at home. But I wasn't going to get a pay. I had to start my company. You don't make money in the first year or whatever with your company. So like it was a risk, but I didn't care because I'm like, I'm not going to sit here and report to someone that, first of all, when you're in a corporate structure, if it's a big company, the owner doesn't know who you are. So it's like you are stressing for this manager, and then you move up, and then you're going to stress for this manager, and then up and up and up. And listen, some people are built for it, and it's cool. And I always say this, I don't shit on 9-to-5s in the sense where like some people love working a 9-to-5, and like that's great. That's your life path.
We
and
need
like
people like that.
Too, you do. Every industry, every field needs someone. Personally, I'm just, if I had to do it, like I said, circumstantial. If I had to, I would. But if I had the choice, I'd actually work double time in what I'm doing now than have to go back.
Makes sense.
Because I don't like that. Like to me, the stupidest thing was like, I got to call you and tell you I'm sick, but you're only going to pay me on 2 days. And then if I don't come in the other days, then it's a problem and whatever. And it's like, no, if you're sick, you're sick.
Well,
like
you have to rush to get better.
Yeah, it's just not it. And then you have to report to people that sometimes have egos or may not know as much as you and whatever. Like obviously there's constant entrepreneurship too, but I just don't think I'm built to be in an environment.
I was gonna say, that was a fantastic response.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, because it's just like, I think about it a lot. Because like obviously with entrepreneurship too, listen, there's ups and downs, especially with finances. Like you're not always in steady income, especially at the beginning, and things happen. Yeah. And there's times where they're like, my parents would be like, oh, like, would you go back and like get a job? And I'm like, no, not unless I had to. If I had to, obviously if things are getting bad, you're not going to be stupid either.
Exactly. You got to be responsible.
Yeah, but it's like for as long as you can grind out and hustle. I had someone say to me once, like, he believes, and I think that it's true, if you work hard at anything you do in your life, it doesn't matter what it is, you will always be successful. Yep. So if you're not successful in something, you're just not working hard enough because you could do it. Yeah, absolutely. And that's my belief.
I agree with that 100%. It's more fulfilling too.
100%.
Yeah.
So wait, would you?
Honestly, no. Like some people have asked me, like, Mike, would you go back to teaching? And like respectfully, I think that the teaching profession is a very valuable
100%.
job.
Yes.
Like they're the pinnacle of educating kids. Problem today that I find, my opinion, is that teachers don't have the respect as an authority figure the way they used to 20 years
100%.
ago. Today, the kids get away with whatever they want, this thing with technology and whatever it is. Like, look, at the end of the day, the kids don't know. They know how to play the system, and they have parents that support them.
Yeah.
So if the teachers went back to the authority that they had 20, 30 years ago, where they were the teacher, they knew how to educate, if we went back to that, then maybe. But today, I personally don't have the mannerisms to be a teacher because I'm very big on accountability. But you got to watch how you talk to this student. And this one needs a different type of plan. And this one, the parent's going to call all the time and threaten to sue. I'm like, you know what? When your child gets out into the real world, they're going to have a hard time.
100%. And that all that's a whole other conversation. But that comes down to just parenting in general. Obviously, parenting styles have changed over the years. Yeah. And you could see it. Like, I was talking about this with one of my other guests. Like, me growing up, if something happened at school and they said they were going to call home, I would plead for them to not call home because I'm like, I don't want to go home.
Yeah.
I can't go home if you call home. Like, it's just not going to fly. Even if I was right and my mom would be like, this, and I'd be like, no, but I was right. I could never be right. I'm the student. The teacher
had
always
the
right,
figure.
you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, nowadays, it's like, I hear stories. I have a lot of family members that are in teaching and they've been in it for years. So they've seen that transition.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. Like the things that I'm for defending your kid 110%. But there's also points where like, you also can't let your kid get away with murder because that turns into lacking respect for adults and others, right? It's like when you play sports and, you know, a teammate has a shit game and their parents like, they played amazing today. My parents, when I had a shit game, I'd walk off, they'd be like, you play like shit. And I'm like, yeah, I know. It's just, but it's like, be realistic about your child. They're the first ones to say like, she didn't have a good game today. Or the first ones to say, you played really well today. I find parents that just sugarcoat things for their kids. Their kids grow up more sensitive and weaker. And like, listen, obviously I don't have a kid. It's easier to talk than put into action. But this is just what I've seen.
Observation,
yeah, it's just what I've seen. And it's like, you're sugarcoating your kids. You're like, participation medals. That's like, I talk sports because it triggers me. But like, why? If you're not in first or second, why are you getting a participation medal? You showed up. That's great. You didn't win. That sucks. You work to do better next year. Like, don't applaud someone for showing up. Showing up is the bare minimum in a sport. It's your commitment as a teammate. Like,
well, and the thing is, because I know you're big into sports too, but like competition actually inspires growth.
100%.
Right? It fuels people to train more and stuff. Like you look at like the great athletes today, they were working and putting in the time and working and like, again, the competition is healthy.
Yeah. No, right? It is. It is. 100% it is. I agree. Well, thank you for coming on.
Thank you. It was an amazing experience. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Guys, you know what to do. Like, follow, subscribe, share. I'm also going to put his handles and all the bios, usual routine. Give him a shout if you need a reno. You know who to call. And I'll see you on the next episode.